Welcome to Skopje!
When I visit a place, I usually do some research, learn about its history, random facts, and which overrun tourist spots to avoid. But for Skopje, that didn't happen. Not on purpose, it just slipped.
Skopje is absolutely crazy. So much history in so small place. Many mosques. I have a mosque right next to my window, which is a bit annoying. Here this is basically the historical city center. There is the old stone bridge. I think it's from the Roman Empire. There are a lot of fountains and old fountains. I'm very unprepared, to be honest. I have no idea what I'm doing here. But tomorrow morning I'm gonna do one of these free walking tours. I think the huge statue over there is the one of Alexander the Great. I don't know if you can see it on your screen or whatever, but the size of these buildings, the size of all the statues and buildings is so immense. I feel really tiny here. I think it doesn't look as big as it is in reality. The statue is fucking immense. Now you can see the people next to the statue.
You see, much of what looks like historical buildings and statues in Skopje isn't actually old, apart from the stone bridge, of course. Most of these structures were built between 2010 and 2014 as part of a massive government project called Skopje 2014. This initiative was launched under then Prime Minister Nikola Gruevski and was closely tied to the nationalist policies of the ruling party at the time. But why construct an enormous number of statues, neoclassical style buildings, fountains and bridges in the 21st century? There's a reason for that. In 1963, a devastating earthquake destroyed about 80% of Skopje, wiping out most of its Ottoman and Byzantine heritage. The only part of the city that remained relatively intact was the old bazaar with its mosques, caravanserais and Ottoman-era buildings. Many of these structures have since been restored, repurposed as museums, restaurants and cultural spaces. The rest of the city, however, had to be rebuilt from scratch. The Skopje 2014 project was meant to reshape the city's identity, but it sparked major controversy. There was, for example, the massive cost. After estimated costs of 80 million euros, the total expenses are more than 560 million euros, which is crazy for a country like North Macedonia. Many argue that this money would have been better spent on education, healthcare or public services.
Just out of personal interest, I asked ChatGPT how much 560 million euros would be in Cevapi. And the price proportion in North Macedonia is roughly between €3.20 to €6.50. That would be somewhere between 86 to 175 million portions. And that's enough to feed every person in North Macedonia, which has a population of about 1.8 million people, with 48 to 97 portions each. Imagine how much cevapcici this is.
There is also the historical aspect. Critics claimed the project sought to redefine North Macedonia's national identity by emphasizing ties to Asian Macedonia while downplaying its Ottoman and Yugoslav past, which also ended in international tensions. Greece saw the project, especially statues of Alexander the Great, as a deliberate provocation amid the long-running Macedonian name dispute. Last but not least, as classic in politics all over the world, investigations later uncovered money laundering and fraud linked to the project. Many officials were convicted, and then Prime Minister Nikola Gruevski even fled to Hungary to avoid prison. When the Social Democratic Union took power in 2017, they pledged to re-evaluate Skopje 2014. Some statues and monuments were removed or relocated, and several buildings had their neoclassical facades stripped, revealing their original modernist structures. However, many elements of Skopje 2014 remain until today, giving the city a unique but divisive look. So let's concentrate on the nicer part of the city. If you're looking for great coffee and food, Also a lot of shops that sell everything you can imagine, some of it still handmade using century-old craftsmanship. Check out the Bazaar. Oh, and there are also super friendly locals as well. First documents about this place date back to the 12th century. It survived 2 major earthquakes and 1 huge fire, always being massively damaged but always rebuilt. In 2008 it was declared an object of great cultural importance and therefore put under special protection status. Within the Bazaar you also find places like Kapanan. It was designed as a caravanserai, a secure lodging place for traders traveling along the Balkan trade routes. It was probably built in the late 15th or early 16th century. The name Kapan possibly comes from the Persian-Turkish word for market or warehouse, indicating its function as both an inn and a commercial hub. The ground floor was used for stabling animals and storing goods, while the upper floor had rooms for travelers. Today Kapanan has been restored and repurposed as a restaurant, cafe and cultural venue. It stands in authenticity and huge contrast to Skopje 2014. But Skopje is not only known for their oversized statues and their bazaar, it is also the birthplace of Mother Teresa. There is a monument that remembers her birthplace, which was destroyed in the earthquake of '63. And not far from there is a museum remembering her life and doings. A building that will catch your eye when you pass it is the old train station that has been turned into a museum. It was partly damaged during the earthquake, but was repurposed. Until this day, parts of it look like they might fall apart soon. After spending a couple of weeks exploring mainly cities, I was ready to go venture through some nature again. So I rented a car and some people I met at the hostel decided to join and explore with me. First stop was something pretty unknown, at least I thought so. Somewhere in North Macedonia is a hot spring hidden in a cave. While there were even point out where it is. Out of respect for the locals, I won't tell you the location of this place. Anyway, I'm sure you will be able to find it if you really want to. It is less well hidden than I would have thought. And one of these locals even awaited us at the entrance. Check this out. It's pitch black. The bath itself is definitely in my top 5 hot springs I've ever been. Never seen a caved hot spring before. Certainly the cave is man-made and is probably from Roman times. Also the water was really warm and absolutely enjoyable. So this is our little buddy Rufus. He's super cute and he's seeking for the warmth of this place. We really hope the locals feed him here. Super cute, but we cannot take him with us. The next stop was in a restaurant where we escalated completely. After an amazing shopska salad, we had a huge plate of mixed meats and a beer. So we escalated a little bit with the food. Food in the Balkans is not made to keep you skinny. It's made for pleasure only. Well fed, we went on to Matka Valley, a rather famous tourist site, but worth a visit as it is also a beautiful place that is home to a lot of rare plant and animal species. First we went up on a hike to have a look from above. In those days in mid-January I found a blooming crocus as well as a colchicum species. One of the very interesting characteristics of the Matka Valley is that Mediterranean plants mix with plants that are often found in mountainous areas. Look how beautiful this is. The Matka Valley and within it the Matka Lake, obviously artificial, are a biodiversity hotspot to say the least. 77 endemic plant species can be found. There are several caves of one, which is at least the deepest underwater cave in whole North Macedonia. In the caves you can find an abundance of bat species, including the rare long-fingered bat. And from time to time it is even possible to spot the very elusive Balkan lynx.
We're having a photo shooting. So we're not gonna seeing the whole canyon today because it's quite late, the sun is getting down and we need to return the rental car. But what's the first thing you thought about when seeing all these steep cliffs? Right, vultures.
In Matka you can find griffon vultures and with a bit of luck also the in Europe much rarer Egyptian vulture. All over Europe there are conservation and rewilding efforts regarding all native vulture species, as they are a keystone species and incredibly important for working ecosystem. One of the most important things they do as scavengers is that when eating carcasses they avoid the spread of pests and viruses. Sadly, vultures still fight for survival in many places of the world. The biggest threat to them are certain humans, as they illegally poach but even more often poison them. Even if the poison is not targeted to the vulture itself, bringing out poison will kill or harm all animals that digest it, and vultures are often the secondary victims by eating the carcass of an animal that dies by being poisoned. Well, that's it, folks. My 3 days in North Macedonia passed by pretty fast, but I enjoyed them a lot. Skopje is a city of contrasts, from the artificial Skopje 2014 to the genuine historic charm of the old bazaar, from urban landscapes to the wilderness of Matka Canyon. I was happy to meet some fellow travelers and to escape the city. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video. I hope you have a great day, and I also hope to see you next time. Bye!